Welcome to You Heard with the Nerds. I'm Brett.
I'm Dorian. Today we're going to be talking about DC Fandome, The Matrix 4. But first things first, let's talk about a little bit of Batman talk. We'll be talking about more Batman stuff a little bit later on, but let's talk about a specific Batman.
Back in black.
Ben is back.
I hit the sack.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual lyric. That's just what I thought it was when I was a kid.
I don't know.
So, Ben Affleck is back playing Batman. This news broke a few days before DC Fandome event, and they didn't actually even mention it at all, I don't think. At least from what I saw. I didn't watch the entire event.
Yeah. Did you watch the Flash panel that they...
I think I watched most of it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I don't remember them saying anything about...
No, they didn't mention it in the
Ben
part that I
Affleck, saw. Returning and all that, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, so Ben Affleck is set to return as Batman for the Flash movie that's coming up.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. Like, I was under the impression that Ben Affleck had retired. You know, he was originally supposed to be playing Batman in The Batman, the movie that, we'll be talking about a little bit later. And basically that was going to be it here. And he, left that project and that was going to be the end of it. But he's back to being Bruce Wayne in the Flash movie. So there's a couple ways I could see this going. I think it could be like a very Spider-Verse kind of way where Affleck is killed like near the beginning of the movie and they need a new Batman to kind of come in and take his place. And that's where you get Michael Keaton, or he gets replaced Michael Keaton through like time travel shenanigans or multiverse stuff here, because this movie seems like it's going to be kind of dealing with like not only time travel, but also like parallel universes and stuff like that. It's probably going to be a wild movie.
Yeah. So my thoughts are maybe there's two Batmen, potentially, hovering around the same space, whether that's because of Flashpoint. Maybe one of them's playing Thomas Wayne. Maybe Ben's playing Thomas Wayne.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is a, well, I don't know if it makes much sense for Ben to play Thomas Wayne per se, unless like they're going to do some sort of like CGI type deal or whatnot, or if they have Michael Keaton play Thomas Wayne. But I mean, according to like the rumors that we heard earlier with Michael Keaton returning, he's supposed to kind of stick around in the DC extended universe as kind of like a Nick Fury type figure. So if that's true, then I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, this might be just kind of the actual like proper farewell to Ben Affleck's Batman that we get in this movie potentially. Maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it's an interesting bit of news. I will say that much.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things that can play into it, like contracts and stuff like that. But I mean, I didn't mind his Batman, or especially him as Bruce Wayne. I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think Ben Affleck definitely has like potential. It's just I think he was just like in some really crappy movies that did not utilize what he could have been, basically.
Totally.
No pun intended. But
right.
But on that note, real quick, it's kind of interesting because Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think that's his name, played Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman, like in that flashback, and he's
yeah,
and so he's
that would be sick.
So yeah, exactly. That's kind of where my thought process is a little bit, because I think he's done doing The Walking Dead, but I think he does like, stunts and stuff like that. So, I mean, he could be a Thomas Wayne, Flashpoint universe Batman, but I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah. So let's talk about some other movies real quick, and then we're going to get into our DC Fandome, just kind of a first look, impressions and stuff like that. But Matrix 4 is lacking one central character in one of the, Trinity, no pun intended, of the Matrix.
You beat me to that pun before I could make it.
Did you write it down? I didn't
write it down. I was going to say it, but yeah.
So Lawrence Fishburne says he was not invited to return.
Right. Yeah. So, which is kind of odd because I was just kind of thinking along the line. So we have Neo who's returning. We have Trinity who's going to be returning,
Hmm.
but not Morpheus, which kind of is like, okay, well, he was like the one out of the main three that made it through at the very end and like actually lived. So
Hmm.
it's a little odd, but I mean, obviously, I'm assuming this is because of story reasons that maybe somehow like Trinity and Neo got reincarnated into the Matrix like years and years like past Morpheus's time, like I don't know, something along those lines, but
Could be, or maybe it takes place in heaven.
yeah, no, it makes sense,
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
just
that's honestly
post-apocalyptic cyberpunk heaven or whatever.
yeah, that's honestly a big hit for me because I think he's one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise.
Right. I mean, he
Um,
was he was probably like uh second to Neo, the biggest character in that
yeah,
franchise.
I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters who, honestly, in my opinion, shouldn't be in a movie, we got LeBron James featured the new Toon Squad jerseys for the Space Jam and New Legacy, and these jerseys are
Mhm.
the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen in my life, and I'm talking about all sports.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's got like a real tropical kind of look to it with the color scheme and all
It's
that. It's
just
like
weird too,
got
like
like got like kind of like I don't know what you call like kind of like a light blue and like
it's like a turquoise.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it kind of looks like I don't know the color of like some fruity drink you order or something along those lines. So
Basically, like
that's that,
like if you go to Taco Bell and get one of their freezes.
exactly yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah, something
yeah.
along those lines. But yeah, I mean, who knows? You know,
You can't beat
I
that clean look of the original ones.
well, and that's kind of one of the things I was like really surprised that they actually did something new with the jerseys because I figured they would try to go for that nostalgia, Toon Squad, that jersey that we all grew up with here, but
Right.
guess not.
Hope they CGI over it because it's literal
Yeah,
trash.
get a little Justice League action going
Yeah.
on there. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we'll have to have like whatever the director's cut of this movie is, like
Yeah.
5 or 6 years down the line here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got some video game stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So is Skyward Sword coming to Switch?
So there was a Amazon listing saying that Skyward Sword was going to be coming to Switch, which honestly kind of makes a little bit of sense. Nintendo has been doing remasters of their old Zelda games or, HD ports of their old Zelda games the past couple of years. You got Wind Waker, you got Twilight Princess. They even remade Link's Awakening from the ground up. So it makes sense for Skyward Sword to come eventually here. I think the big question on everybody's mind is like how much will they adapt the motion controls to this game? Because I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
a
if
good
you
point. Oh
I don't
yeah, I
know if you
remember.
oh yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it was very motion control heavy. It was
I was
uh
into it when it came
yeah, I
out.
honestly I didn't mind it whatsoever. I thought it was actually like one of the few times I actually enjoyed motion controls in a video game for the most part.
Same. Yeah, they're pretty
Um
responsive if you had like the Wii Motion Plus or whatever it was.
well, right, you had to get the
I
Wii
think you
Motion
had to
Plus.
have it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it even came with it here, I think.
Oh, if
But
you got the one with the controller, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, 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 yeah. So that being said, I know that's a sticking point for, some people online or on the internet here and stuff. So I don't know if they're gonna like rework it to kind of like tone that down a little bit. Like maybe it'll be kind of like almost like a stance system where you have like different areas where like you're positioning your sword like via buttons as opposed to motion. I don't know. Probably not. I would imagine they'll probably just stick with it and just say, hey, it's here if you want it, and if you don't, move along here. Go play a different Zelda game. But
Yep.
um, that being said, I mean, I'd still be interested to see what it would be, even if they did rework it with non-motion controls. Just because I think this is like one of the most underrated Zelda games. I think like a lot of people took issue with the motion controls, and they completely ignored the fact that how much good stuff there is in this game here. So I think if they, you know, gave it a little bit of a touch up here, I think it could be a banger.
Word. All right, let's talk about some indie developing. So
Yeah,
they
I
had,
mean,
they had. I mean,
briefly.
briefly. So more so because my prediction is still that we'll get a full direct by the end of the month, if not early September.
I think
Um,
the rumor is like the 28th
yeah, I think
of
it's
this
Friday of
month.
this week. So
Yeah.
which I think that'd be about right. Yep. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. There's a lot of things on sale because of this, you know, thing.
Mhm.
The indie developing, all the games are, on a pretty
Yeah.
good discount.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything really where I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I have to buy this right now, because a lot of it was stealth drop. Like a lot of the things that were mentioned, it's like it's out now.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised on that. I'm like, wow, they just like announced and basically just put out like a bunch of games just like
They Sega
rapid
Saturn does.
fire. Yeah, rapid fire one after the other. And that might be possibly just because like, okay, we've kind of had a little bit of a drought in terms of like, a AAA Nintendo experience for the most of the year. So they're like, okay, well, we need to pad it out
I think they're
and
gonna
do
rain down fire this Friday if that's true. If we're getting a direct, I think it's gonna be straight up Corona fueled, just epicness.
I mean, I would most certainly love that.
Because we got all these delays. Like when I say Corona fueled, it means you've had this much longer to work on all these projects. Because you have to be still working. Like they have to
Oh
have
no,
gotten
that
stuff at
they
home. They
most
have
certainly
to have all their
are.
stuff going. And you've gotten basically 2 more months to polish whatever, maybe almost even 3 at this point.
Mhm.
From, or no, 2 months from, because E3 is in July, right?
Uh, June.
June. Okay, so almost 3 months extra, basically.
So
Um,
so let me make sure I'm hearing you right. You're thinking that this supposed direct that may be coming is going to be their E3 that we got
yes.
deprived of here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I think
right.
it's gonna be E3 plus a little more, maybe even, because we're getting it about 3 months later, and we're coming closer to that holiday. This is gonna be at least teasing those games that are coming out, in the next 2 months, basically,
Yeah.
right before holiday, which is gonna be, if you want to throw all the, you know, um, what do you want to call them? Not spoilers, because obviously I don't know what I'm talking about, but
J-
all the
j-
different theories, I guess.
well, yeah, just
We
doing
get the
just building hype
Super Mario
basically.
All Stars 2's got to be coming.
Oh
Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
all
Like
those
basic
different games got to
all
be
the
part of
all the
it.
rumored stuff that we been hearing about for months here materialize in some way, shape, or form.
Because to be
Hopefully.
honest, I'll sell something to buy the Super Mario All Stars game like day one, because
Yeah,
that's with all the games they were talking about. Like people are saying they're potentially in it. I
yeah,
want it, and
yeah.
so
No, I mean, who wouldn't here?
I just think,
But
yeah, I don't even want. I guess that's a tangent, but I just think if if they do have something like that, it's not going to be one game. It's going to be multiple games laid out over the next few months. It's
yeah,
like if they, unless none of them are, what do you call, like remastered. If they're not remastered, I can see them do collection. I can see
yeah,
there being like remastered versions of not only Mario stuff, but other stuff we haven't gotten on this platform quite yet. And so
yeah.
like Indie World makes me excited for the actual direct, because obviously this wasn't it.
Right. I mean, and just I know we didn't speak anything really much on Indie World here, but
No.
talking about like some of the games. I mean, there was like maybe one game that actually kind of caught my interest a little bit. That was like Hades, and
Oh yeah,
that was the one that was featured right at the beginning. It came from
it was
the
like a
team at Supergiant.
like
Yeah,
a
it's like a
rogue. Uh,
roguelike hack and slash with an isometric view.
yeah,
Uh, looks kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'd have to like look at it a little bit more here because apparently this game's been out for a little bit on PC.
right.
Uh, but really, other than that, there was like nothing that really sparked my interest. It kind of seemed like a lot of the games that were direct or in this indie world were more or less like aimed at the Animal Crossing crowd. You kind of got the more laid back, casual games and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of which I mean, honestly, smart because Animal Crossing like just sold 22 million copies, which is like an
Yeah.
insane number here.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me with Indie World, honestly, I'm a huge Diablo guy.
Yeah.
and Torchlight 3 actually looked pretty cool coming out
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, I've actually heard good things about Torchlight, so
Yeah,
that
I
might
mean,
be
I think Torchlight 2 is actually on sale right now. That would be a game I looked at. Um, but I already got it. Like, I mean, we don't even have this on here, but PlayStation is having an insane sale right now.
Are
Um,
they?
yeah. I got the Valkyria Chronicles 4 for like I don't even know how much it was, like $5 or $10 or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah,
And
that's,
then I got NBA 2K20 for $5. So or
nice.
no, what was it? It was $3, something stupid, basically.
It's like you'd be stupid not to buy it type
Right,
of thing.
especially games like that where it's just like you can keep playing them. But
Yeah,
anyway, and so there's a similar sale obviously with all the indie games right now. So if you're someone to look up, to stock up, I think the sale ends the 30th, so you got like another week and a few days, or about a week as of when this podcast comes out. But check
yeah.
it out. I might check out Torchlight 2, depends. But I'll look up some reviews because I guess it's not it kind of has a rap of not being the best game, but Torchlight 3 looks promising for me. So
Yeah. Fair enough.
let's talk about other promising games. Ghost of Tsushima has
Mhm.
a co-op mode out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, this was actually kind of a surprise to me. It's going to have a 4-player co-op mode. It's going to have different classes to play. I'm going to do my best to rattle them like, off the top of my head. So
Sure.
one is samurai, the other one is Ronin, the other one is assassin, and I think the last one is archer.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that the equipment that you have in the game, they'll be assigned to like different classes that you have. It'll be focused. It's basically going to be like a horde mode style gameplay. It's going to focus on like Japanese folklore, so you'll be like fighting onis and stuff like that. And it'll be a free update sometime this fall. So
So, and Oni is like a samurai spirit, right?
it's basically kind of like
Possessed armor.
it's basically an oni is like a monster, like a kind of like a Japanese demon or monster type
Okay. Okay.
thing here. So
I got you.
usually, yeah, like big guys wielding like a club or a weapon, usually red skinned. So yeah,
Oh, okay. Got you.
yeah,
Sweet. I mean, it
yeah,
sounds like fun. I don't know. We'll
yeah.
see.
I mean, it's for free. It's like, yeah, I'll touch. I
Yeah.
mean, why not? But shall we get to the big stuff?
Get into the big stuff. Let's go. Let's talk about the DC Fandome.
So
Good play on words, number one.
yeah,
Congratulations, DC. You played some words, and the words were good.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, A+. So
so just
j-
let's talk overall real quick before we get into specifics because
yeah,
I honestly really liked the production of it. I think it was probably the best I could do. There's a little bit of if any of you guys checked it out. I mean, there was a lot of CGI, obviously, because it's green screen.
green screen like
But
up
I
the
thought it
yin
was
yang.
way cooler than just a stagnant camera on people. Like they did a very creative
Yeah,
thing that because I was
I
just
mean,
expecting honestly people on Skype and just them talking to each other.
yeah. I would say for what they could do in lieu of a Comic-Con and
Yes.
all that, this is probably the best they could do, especially considering how Comic-Con's digital event. I don't know. I mean,
Was
I think
straight trash.
it just. I mean, well, and I think the main reason for that is because they were lacking like some banger announcements, But we got the bangers here,
Yeah, we
so
do.
yeah. So, I don't know. You want to get started with Wonder Woman here?
Yeah, Wonder Woman 84. I thought it was
Yeah.
really cool for the panel that the Mandalorian stopped by.
I mean, he's in the
Um,
movie.
well, I mean, the Mandalorian's the Mandalorian.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. I think was the highlight of this for me. I thought he was just funny.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
he's a funny guy.
I thought it was cool that like as okay. So this is the first thing I wrote for all of DC Fandom.
Mhm.
So as the fandom progressed, I thought it was less cool, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool that the fans asked the panel questions, and then I was like, as you're watching, you're like, there's no way anybody knew about this beforehand. So obviously they're rigged questions.
Well,
Um,
I think people
some of them
knew.
weren't. Some of them weren't.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like the people who sent in like the video and all that, I'm pretty sure those were real questions. I just think they are very like handpicked questions, just because like they're going to screen them and give them easy
Sure.
questions
Yeah, no, I thought they did a good
answer.
job with that, and I think that added the kind of the human element that we needed. That because at Comic Cons usually you get that line of people asking questions, and most of them suck.
Yeah,
But
like,
this was
what's your
this was the
what's your favorite flavor of Cheetos here or
yeah, and
something
it's like
along those lines?
you're like, uh, have you seen these guys? They don't eat Cheetos.
Yeah, no kidding.
But we got a new trailer, which was pretty cool for Wonder Woman 84. We get to
Yeah.
see Cheetah in all her glory, her full feline
Well,
form.
I mean, is it glory? Because I was getting some serious cat vibes from
Yeah,
like Cheetah there, which
I
I mean,
I just meant a fully realized Cheetah because we have seen Kristen Wiig kind of fight, but we hadn't seen her in the
like
like full Cheetah.
yeah, like go full on, yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, definitely cat vibes. The CGI was definitely lacking in those couple shots we got. But it
but
could have just been a weird shot. Like we'll see when the movie's done, like here and done. And
yeah.
I figure that's finalized because the movie should have already been out. But I mean,
Yeah, it probably should have. I mean, I don't know. It could just been like a bad shot from
yeah,
that. I mean, who knows? But real quick, not to get on a tangent here, but
yeah.
uh, have you seen that one theory about like the Cats movie and all that?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so there's like this timeline that shows like Cats coming out like December of 2019,
Uh-huh.
and then everything going downhill in 2020 because
Oh
of the Cats movie.
gosh.
So
Hey, makes sense.
anything
Maybe this is
anything
redemption.
bad in 2020 was due to Cats. So
Hey,
go write your local congressman or whoever,
Seabrecht would appreciate that theory, I feel like.
Yeah, he probably would.
Speaking of that, go visit if you live in St. George, Utah, go visit your local Good Burger. WB Montreal had an announcement.
Yeah,
What did you think
yeah.
about this
So,
announcement?
all right, so let's set the stage here for a second. So,
Lots of hype surrounding this.
well, I thought going into this was going to be a new Arkham game because this was developed by the guys who did Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
And they've teased that they were doing a new Batman game for a while now.
I mean, they're not
And
wrong. You're not wrong in thinking
no,
that.
no, we're not wrong. And so it's not a new Arkham game. It's something called Gotham Knights, which essentially is a game where the premise is Batman and Commissioner Gordon are dead.
Yep.
And it's left up to Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood to basically protect the city here.
Mhm.
And so it's a multiplayer co-op. I believe it's 4 players.
Yep.
And it features like it does have like some elements to it, like it has the grapple hook system from Arkham. It also has like some stealth to it, but the combat is going to be kind of more like I would say like kind of the more recent like Assassin's Creed or The Witcher games, where it's just going to be kind of RPG-ish, stat based and whatnot here.
Yeah.
And it does feature the Court of Owls.
Yeah. And that's just the beginning, is what they were saying. Is the Court of Owls is story wise is part of a much bigger thing, and
Right.
I love. I mean, this is a for those of you who don't read comics, this is a series you need to. This is a run you need to take notice of because it's a great run. Being the Court of Owls, and so yeah, we'll see kind of how this pans out. My thoughts on it, where this looks freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to play this game. And I think we talk about this a lot. Like we've talked about this a lot. My main hangup with some of the other Batman games was it featured the other people, but
Yeah.
unless it was like a random mission or like a horde mode, you didn't get to play as the other characters.
Yeah, this is full on. You get to play as the supporting cast here.
Which I'm about, because I mean I'm a huge Nightwing fan, huge Red Hood fan, and so they were talking about you could kind of cater your play style of your character to how you want to play the game, and I think
Right.
I'm going to spend a lot of time as Nightwing and Red Hood and play very differently with each one of them.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
absolutely.
I'm excited for the customization of the I'm sure there's skill trees and stuff like that.
Oh, there's gotta be. I mean,
Um,
and I I mean, I'm kind of wondering. I really hope this is not like going to be like a straight up Destiny like or something along those lines here. Hopefully, I mean, it could kind of go that route, but I mean, if it's like mild, might be okay with it. But if it's like full on trying to be kind of like how the new Avengers game is kind of being or shaping up to be, it's like, but
Yeah, we'll see. My only thing, so they actually released full on gameplay footage, which is another big thing, which I was like, whoa. So they
yeah,
released basically the trailer for it, and then they go, oh, and we got gameplay. And I was like, thank the Lord that we have gameplay and they're
yeah,
not just
no,
teasing us.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, the gameplay basically kind of featured like you know, you get vehicles in the game. You also seems like it has like a very open world type of setting, so you're going to be just cruising around Gotham like wherever you want for the most part from the looks of things. And then you can just kind of drop into a buddy session like whenever you want here.
Yeah, seems pretty sweet. I think I mean, there's a scene or, part of the gameplay where Robin is kind of hops in and there's another player basically playing with the person who's demoing
Mhm.
and he like teleports.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like that just seems like the last thing you would expect like from a member of the Bat family to be
Yeah.
doing. Even if they have a gadget,
And
that'd
he
be
went full
like
on invisible. Did you see that part?
yeah. I don't remember seeing that part
Yeah, he
here.
was like up against a wall or like squatting against a pillar or something like that.
I don't
And
know
then
if
all
that's
of a
just
sudden he just turned invisible or, you
yeah,
know,
I don't know if that's like a gameplay mechanic of some sort or like that's not
it might be
supposed
like
to
an
be like
ability. I'm not
or like
sure.
that's like just supposed to be like an indication that he's
He's
not
stealth now.
currently yeah, he's
Yeah.
like incognito mode or something along
It
those
could be,
lines.
it could be, which would be
Yeah.
cool. Um,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit bummed that this isn't an Arkham game, but I do like what I'm seeing in terms of like, this just being a Batman game that's a co-op based and the premise I think is really interesting. So, yeah, I'm actually excited to like, learn more about it, play it, all that good stuff.
for sure. Let's talk about the Flash movie.
Yeah. So we get a glimpse of Barry Allen's new suit.
Mhm.
And basically during this panel, which I don't know if you could really call it a panel, this is
Oh,
just them
it's so
kind of
short. It was like a little blurb,
it was very
like
short,
10
but
minutes.
they are doubling down on the Flashpoint story. They made it
Yep.
clear that Flashpoint is going to be the focus. Which I mean,
The reboot,
we've all,
it's rebooting the whole DC universe.
it's definitely going to be rebooting here, and that's
Yeah,
kind of like plays into my theory of like why Ben Affleck is coming back is like this is just a way to show that there's been a replacement of Batman here or something like that.
yeah,
Um, but one of the things that really kind of interested me is like they were kind of talking about how you know they like with the Flashpoint you can like explore all these different like universes and like all these different things and all that. So you have like these all these other DC like live action stuff. Like they showed the Watchmen show, the Watchmen
yep.
movie, the
Mhm.
different Batman movies. Um, all sorts of like past and fairly recent like DC stuff that's been live action. They showed it and kind of like almost hinting at that there might be some of this stuff in the movie here or like references or nods to it here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I liked I don't know, I liked how they kind of, talked through a couple of the new elements. Obviously, we're not getting a trailer because nothing's been going on with that movie.
Yeah, no, I
We
don't
got
think
we
they
got the new suit, for Barry Allen, which they said is gonna incorporate more energy,
yeah,
as
kind
far
of a
as, like,
more organic feel to it, I think is what the
which
word
honestly, I
they
didn't
used to
mind his
describe it.
old suit. I really liked it. I thought it was cool, but
I don't know. I mean, I kind of felt like after like seeing it again, like after like I don't know 3 years after Justice League, I'm kind of like yeah, like kind of seems like a little bit of a weird take, I guess, but I don't know.
yeah, so basically what I took away from this panel was that, like you said, doubling down on Flashpoint, like it's gonna. They said it multiple times, like this is gonna change the entire DC universe, basically.
Which is a good
Um,
thing.
yeah, it's a good thing because it's not good right now. except for Shazam, and you could argue Aquaman, but it's 50-50 split on who likes that and who doesn't, I guess.
Right. I mean, no, I mean, obviously, DC, we've talked about it on the show before, have made mistakes, and this is going to be the big retcon movie / their version of Days of Future Past that's supposed to
Yeah.
get the franchise back on track.
Yep. Speaking of back on track, let's talk about the Suicide Squad, because this isn't a reboot, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
This is a sequel, and so they kind of revealed who's playing who, which was basically a mystery up until except for a couple characters up till this point.
Right. Yeah.
Now I don't have it pulled up. I can search for it.
I got it pulled up here.
All right, so let's walk through. First things first. Can I just say John Cena's like classic outfit in this looks amazing.
Yeah, no, I like how he described it. Is like his character is basically a douchebag Captain America, basically.
Yeah, because he wants this.
So all right, so basically, Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller. We have, hang on, Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn, which
Harley Quinn, okay,
yeah.
She's never
Joel
has she?
Yeah, never,
Okay.
not once here.
Yeah.
Joel Kinnaman, which I didn't know he was actually in this movie here. He's back as Rick Flag. I figured he would be gone. Idris Elba plays Bloodsport. So, and let's see who else we got going on here. Michael Rooker is Savant.
Yep.
Pete Davidson is Blackguard. We have Lula Borg as Javelin. Nate Fillion as TDK. John Cena as Peacemaker. Daniel Melkor as the Ratcatcher 2.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see who else we got in here.
There's 18 characters in this movie plus.
Yeah, Jai Courtney comes back as Captain Boomerang. David Osterman or Osm, I don't know if Austin Macklin. I'm not entirely sure if that's how you pronounce the name. He plays Polka Dot Man.
Yep.
There's gonna be
my new favorite
guy in a live action movie that you're kind of supposed to take kind of seriously, called Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
And then you have Sean Gunn, which is James Gunn's younger brother, plays
Weasel.
Weasel. Yep. I think that a couple other, Alice Barga is Sol Soria, and Peter Capaldi plays the Thinker. Mei Ling Jiang plays Mongal. Steve Agee plays King Shark. And Bato as Luna, or Juan Bato as Luna. So
boom.
Yeah, so huge. Like,
and they didn't reveal everyone because Taika Waititi was not in it. They did not reveal him as anyone.
So it'll probably be a little bit of a surprise, but yeah, that's like a crazy huge cast. And also, I don't know half these guys, and I'm typically someone who's actually somewhat familiar with like comic book characters.
So I know the guy that's playing I think it's Polka Dot. Is it Polka Dot Man? He was in The Dark Knight. He was.
Well, no, I'm talking about like the actual characters here. Like,
oh, you mean like who they're playing?
Yeah, who they're playing.
Yeah. Me either. I don't know half of them, and I've read a good handful of DC comics.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems like this is going to be one that actually a movie that actually is not pulling from the more known characters from the DC lineup, because I mean, obviously you had like Deadshot,
obviously too. You have to
they're definitely going to kill off. I mean, when you have like a cast that big, you have to like make some room somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but no, I mean it's I mean, I'm kind of surprised that this movie isn't going to completely divorce itself from the first movie, because that's kind of like the impression that I got from when they were talking about this movie, how it's kind of more of a soft reboot, but it's like, you have like, like 4 or 5 characters being played by the same actors in this movie
Yeah.
here.
No, I see it now as more of definitely a sequel, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
I thought it was James Gunn was going to kind of revitalize the franchise because, to be honest, hey, here's the deal: I didn't mind elements of that movie when it came out.
I mean,
Uh,
full confession, like when I first watched that movie, I actually enjoyed it just
yeah,
because I like Will Smith and I liked Margot Robbie's interpretation of Harley Quinn. I thought
yeah,
they were good, and that was like pretty much the backbone of like what carried that movie for me here. I mean, everything
totally.
else was like not great, but
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so so the biggest thing for me in these reveals on who's playing who was Idris Elba, because from what we understood, he was kind of replacing Will Smith. Like he was
well,
gonna be
I
Deadshot.
think he I think he still is replacing Will Smith. I think he's going to be like the guy who actually fills in for Will Smith in that role, but
Yeah, but he's not
just has
playing
a different
Deadshot. Yeah.
just has a different character here.
Yeah, he's playing Bloodsport, so I'm like, that's a character I know a little bit about, but still not a lot about.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll see kind of how this pans out, but I'm a little bit more excited now for the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I mean, so and the other thing that we got was a behind the scenes glimpse of what the movie's going to look like.
Yeah.
And it so they kind of reference it as like almost like a 70s war movie kind of thing. And you kind of get that vibe because they're going to like this tropical island. They're like fighting like a bunch of soldiers on a beach and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, looks interesting. Now, this is one movie that I don't understand why it didn't have a trailer of some sort.
Yeah, with how much it showed from the behind the scenes, you would have thought they'd have enough for a trailer for
Well,
sure.
and well, here's what I'm getting at. From what they mentioned, like at the beginning of the panel, like before the panel even started, they said that they wrapped filming in February, and basically they've been editing it and like doing the post production stuff like since then. So that's
I think
6
with
months of time.
yeah, well, that's definitely enough time because we got a trailer for the Batman and
That's my point
it
exactly.
started filming, I think, around then. So, or like late last year, and they only have
Well,
25% of the film done, and they put out a full trailer basically.
basically, yeah, and they don't even have the movie done. They had to stop because of COVID here. So, they have a trailer for the Batman, a movie that's not even completely done yet, but this one
True.
didn't have it. I mean, there's no excuse.
Yeah, I think what they might do is very soon come out with a trailer, but
They gotta be coming out with
we'll
a trailer.
see.
Maybe like they'll try to like put it in front of the Tenet or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Um, any other thoughts on Suicide Squad before we move on?
Oh no, not really. I mean, I'm interested to see this movie. I mean, just the cast seem like they get along well with each other. They seem like they have a good time. Yeah, no, I'm just kind of interested to see like what a proper Suicide Squad movie is going to look like.
Yeah, so these next two topics we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about very briefly.
Yeah,
But Black Adam, they came out, they kind of revealed the logo for that, basically. Some information got revealed, though, and they had kind of like a, what do you want, like a live action, not live action, like a living comic book kind of
yeah,
trailer almost, which was really cool, actually. I really enjoyed that. Um, but it's going to introduce the JSA, the Justice Society of America, which I
yeah.
thought was
So
really interesting.
I
Um,
mean, that's going to include Atom Smasher, Hawkman, Doctor Fate, and Cyclone here. So
yeah,
they're they're really they're really like with these next couple movies rounding out like the roster of like who is in the DCEU here. They're kind of
totally.
building like a pretty big roster of characters for like probably what's going to end up being like a big like team up event movie at some point down the road in the future if they can get their stuff together. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. If The Rock's this high on it, it's probably going to be a good movie, or at least action packed and entertaining.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Black Adam in that same vein, well, here's another thing too: is like Black Adam basically, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, pretty much said you know, he kind of calls out all the superheroes and said there's a new basically hierarchy of power, and that's me. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if going forward, if this is going to be a big plot point for all the DC movies, if Black Adam's going to be this big of an issue.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
we'll
mean,
see.
you don't tap The Rock for like a small role here. You just don't do
No,
that
he's going to be the
here.
face of DC. Like,
Probably, yeah.
like
I mean,
it's
Gal
gonna
Gadot,
happen
Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and The Rock here.
pretty much.
That's
And
probably going to
you got
be.
Robert Pattinson too for Batman, but
I mean, is he going to be DCEU?
I don't know. We still don't know.
I mean, it doesn't seem that way,
No.
but I mean, it kind of seemed like, I don't know if you got this vibe from watching that little kind of motion graphic novel trailer, or whatever you want to call it. It kind of seemed like Black Adam's going to be less of a villain, more of an anti-hero
Yes.
type of character here, which I think probably a good choice if you're going to actually make a movie based around this character.
Yeah, because he'll be in team ups and stuff like that. He might just not handle stuff the way that other heroes want him to handle it. So
Right.
yeah,
Or he might have like motivations that don't line up with like the goals of like
well,
all
yeah,
the other hero
yeah,
thing
totally,
here.
totally. Yeah. So and then in that same vein, Shazam, they had a panel that was about 10 minutes long, and all we got from them was a title. So it's called Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming out 2022. I think if I read that right or something along
I think
those
so.
lines.
Yeah, from what I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, which kind of crazy that they're not trying to put this movie out a little bit quicker. In all honesty, just because I feel like a lot of those kids are going to be like growing up pretty quickly. So
I mean, yeah, you even saw that on the panel. You had like Asher Angel who plays Billy Batson, and then Jack. I can't remember his last name, but who plays
yeah, the other kid here.
yeah, and they definitely look older. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, I loved Shazam 1, so looking forward to Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
yeah, sounds good.
All right, we got one more video game before we talk about the movie, the headline of DC Fandome,
Mhm.
and that is Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, so uh obviously a couple weeks back and like even before that with like rumors and leaks here, we've Rocksteady's new game was going to be a Suicide Squad game, and the focus is essentially your mission is to kill the Justice League because they've been taken over by Brainiac from what we can tell from the
Yeah.
trailer.
Mhm.
Now it's going to be a continuation of the Arkham game. I got some questions about that in just a second here.
Okay.
But it's going to be a one you know, like you can play it single player, but you can also do co-op with like people online,
Yeah.
your friends, whoever. Uh, Basically, your main characters are going to be Deadshot, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Harley Quinn. Those are going to be essentially your main people that you're going to be playing as.
Yeah.
So obviously, different tone than the Arkham game. Now, this is saying that it's supposed to be like in the same universe as Arkham. Now, problem with that,
Yeah.
Deadshot already showed up in a couple of the Batman games, and he was a white guy.
Yep.
And in this trailer, he's a black guy. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah.
I don't know.
So
But no
uh,
gameplay from them. I thought we were gonna get some, but we didn't.
right, I mean they're saying that this game's going to be coming out 2022, which kind of surprised by that, seeing how like Arkham Knight was 2015, and then they made Arkham VR like in 2016, I want to say. So I felt like they've had like a decent amount of time to start you know I don't know, like just getting this out sooner here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I mean that being said, looks interesting. I mean, again, I want to see how the game plays here, and it looks very like kind of like a aggressive type style of gameplay. If like the trailer's any indication here, where you have Deadshot has a jetpack, King Shark has like a minigun, and then Captain Boomerang had like this boomerang that I don't know if like he teleports to or like he just
Yeah,
like
that's
is
why I
really
figured that out.
fast or something along those lines. I didn't quite get that here. And then Harley Quinn just goes crazy and like basically hangs from like ropes from somewhere in the sky, shooting people and stuff like that. So mean, seems. Seems like it could be like a very like, I don't know, like a third person type of Doom type of thing. Where like that's like very high adrenaline, off the wall. Just aggressive gameplay. I'd be into that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a fun game at least. But we won't know until we see some gameplay.
Right.
Let's talk about the man of the hour, the
Oh
Batman.
yeah, I'm best man.
Yeah, so kind of the way that this unfolded a little bit different than I thought because there basically wasn't a panel. It
No,
was
it was more or less an interview, more
yeah,
or
it was an
less.
interview with an intro by the Batman himself, Robert Pattinson.
Mhm.
And then Matt Reeves talked for a while about what this Batman was going to be,
Mhm.
and kind of the roots of it and what inspired it. And
So
so,
this is not going to be a year one Batman, but this is going to be a year two Batman, which
yep.
I'm actually kind of relieved to hear that, because I thought Batman Begins was the year one movie for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, yeah, no. So I'm glad it's kind of it's still a newer it's a newer Batman.
Yeah, young in his career,
We're kind of living the era where he's a myth still, and people are fearful of him. He's not really the hero that we know quite yet. Um,
he's kind of developing into like what Batman can be or
right.
stand for and all that here, versus like the guy who gets the job done. It's kind of like, I think you're kind of see like maybe him like being thought more as the Punisher at the beginning of the movie, and then like maybe more along the lines of the Batman that we know and love at the end of the movie here,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, we got a trailer. We did get a trailer, which I
Yeah,
am so
which
glad we did, and I'm very surprised we did. Not a teaser, but we got like basically a full trailer.
yeah, which well, I don't know. I wasn't super surprised that we got a trailer or along those lines, because they saved it for the very end, and I'm like, okay,
They would pretty much have to have something.
like you gotta have something. And even Matt Reeves basically said like, yeah, if you show up to one of these things, you cannot come empty handed. So take notes, James Gunn.
Yeah,
But that being said, yeah. So uh, and can we just, quick tangent.
yeah,
Can we all agree on like what is a teaser, what is a trailer? Because that was a trailer. At like he
yeah. It
called
was.
it a teaser. It's a trailer. It's like,
I
come
would
on.
say a teaser. Do you remember the first? Uh, I'm gonna call it a teaser, but trailer basically. The first teaser trailer we got in the theater for The Dark Knight.
That's
That's a teaser.
exactly like that's exactly what is in my frame of reference for a teaser
Yeah,
here. Yeah, exactly. Or
basically
like a
voiceovers and then
scene.
images here like that were, but
Right.
nothing crazy. And I thought we were gonna get something more like that, not a full blown trailer.
Yeah. And so yeah, we got a full blown trailer. So
Yeah, and
you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
sure I can go. Honestly, I loved this trailer. I loved everything about it. Uh, I am very excited for this movie. The only thing I kind of rewatched and I was like, I don't know if I like it quite yet was Robert Pattinson's hair.
Really?
Because it was like a little
Huh.
bit longer. I was like, I don't know if I like that for Bruce Wayne, but I don't hate
Okay.
it. I don't hate it. I was just like, oh, that's. I thought it was interesting. It's just not like we've seen Bruce before.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
But I loved the vibe. I loved the cinematography. I loved the bat suit. I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved the Batmobile. I loved how James Gordon looked. I loved this. I don't know. I guessing the guy was the Riddler that had like that was duct taping people's heads
I
up. I'm
Yeah, basically doing the murders and like the clues and all that stuff here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you kinda see him at, like, a rally, and he looked like someone that's part of Antifa with, like, a
Yeah.
green bandana around his and then, like, paint on his eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure why he wears that mask, and then it looks like that sometimes. Maybe that's, like, an earlier shot, and then he becomes that guy with the weird mask, but
I
yeah,
think that if it's the shot that I'm thinking of from that trailer, I think that actually might be Robert Pattinson just kind of like scoping out like the scene or something along those lines or something like that,
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
because he has like the dark like
Makeup.
makeup around
Yeah.
the eyes like he does
It
later on in
could
the
be,
trailer.
but I also was thinking through, like, why does he have, like, a green I don't know. So it could be Robert Pattinson, that makes sense too. But, I was just kind of like, "This is cool." I mean, it was interesting scenes they picked because,
Mhm.
basically one of them, the one that the whole kind of thing revolves around is Batman walking into a huge crime scene with, I don't know, dozens of cops, and he just walks
Yeah,
in broad daylight with Commissioner Gordon. Or I
yeah,
don't
and
know if
like
it's
and the
Commissioner.
FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was interesting, and then I love the fight scene at the end
Oh,
when
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
gang member comes up to him and he just beats the tar out of him. Just the quickness of the fighting, I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be dope."
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll lead off with things I don't like. So the ears still a little weird looking. They kind of look a little antenna looking.
I don't know, I thought
Uh,
they were a lot fuller looking in this trailer
I
that we
mean,
got.
no, I mean they're not like they're not like literally antennas, but that's just the vibe I kind of feel from them. I mean that just could be just because like uh we're coming off of like Batman movies that had thicker ears here.
Right.
Um, Still not completely sold on the way the Batmobile looks. I mean,
Really? I thought it was dope.
I just feel like it just looks too much like a normal car.
I mean, he's basically in year 2, so
Right. No, I get that.
that's fine.
I understand that. I just kind of feel like, okay, I mean, you could have just had him like on, I don't know. It just kind of seems like, yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a little like less Batmobile-ish than I would have liked, but I understand
What
like what they're trying to go with. I
what does that
think.
mean though? Like a Schumacher Batmobile?
Well, no, 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 no. I mean, like, I don't know, just something that kind of separated out a little bit more from like a normal looking car. I guess here is kind of what I'm getting at,
Okay.
but and kind of like what you mentioned earlier, it's kind of weird to have Batman hang out in a room full of cops on the big screen. Obviously he's done that in the comics, I understand that, but it's like we've never really seen Batman like like I think there's like one scene where he's like in a police precinct here, or like an evidence room or something along those lines, surrounded like a whole bunch of cops. And I don't know. It's kind of like a different and interesting take for this movie to do that, because the other Batman movies that we've gotten on, in the movie theaters, they've always been like Batman's more of like kind of a mythical character or like an urban legend type of thing. He doesn't, do he doesn't do like these public gatherings here. So those were the things that I was not super crazy on. Uh the things that I do like, pretty much everything else in this trailer. Like this is honestly, I think this trailer just legitimately sold me on this movie here for the most part. The suit looks better in motion than like that dumb teaser that we got a couple months back, where he's like just in a red lit room, just standing and just like close ups and stuff. Gotham is going back to being gothic, so it looks like kind of like how I felt like Tim Burton's uh, Tim Burton's Batman or Gotham City should have looked here, just with like less like set looking, and looks like an actual
Yeah,
like,
more grounded and gritty.
well, more grounded and gritty. It kind of looks like a perfect marriage of like Nolan and Burton here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what this movie is as a whole. It's like, it's taking like elements from Tim Burton's Batman, taking elements from Christopher Nolan's Batman, and then just like marrying the two, which honestly I think could be absolutely fantastic here. And that's honestly what I wanted like Ben Affleck's Batman to be for the most part. And then if this person that is doing all these murders and leaving all these clues and like all this stuff, if that is the Riddler, I like the direction they're going
I
with
mean,
it
they
here.
said it was the Riddler.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think, did they specifically say
Yes,
that?
the Riddler.
Okay. Okay. Because I thought they were gonna like, they were still like trying to play up the illusion that, oh, this is like this is a murder mystery. You don't know why these murders are happening, type of thing. At least from like from like the interview that happened beforehand. And then we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I guess we're not entirely sure on whether or not this person is supposed to be Cobblepot, but there's one dude that looks like very much a Cobblepot penguin like character
Yeah.
here. And if that is him, they did a good job here.
Yeah, because it's played by Colin Farrell, and it didn't look like Colin Farrell at all to me. But
Yeah.
after further research, it might. So and the guy with the duct tape mask, maybe that's not Riddler, but Riddler's kind of pulling the strings type of thing. Because obviously we get the notes attached to people that are all riddles. It has to be the Riddler.
And that's what I'm kind of getting at here. Is like, I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but obviously it's a very Riddler like character here, or we're led to believe that it is the Riddler.
Matt Reeves said that Paul Dano plays the Riddler.
Right. Right, exactly. But then also the tone of this movie here too. It's I think the tone is it just seems like I mentioned, like Tim Burton meets Christopher Nolan. You get that grounded feel to it. You also get the kind of little bit like more traditional comic booky stuff here, like Gotham City feeling like more like Gotham City, where you have Gothic architecture, like very like very distinct city, or city identity, I guess is a better word for it.
Yeah.
But and then I didn't mention it in the show notes, but the fighting from what we're seeing. So real quick. So I don't think there has been like a Batman movie that's really nailed like Batman's combat prowess, because Michael Keaton could barely move in that suit here for one. Christian Bale, like, they had some decent moments, but like a lot of the, like in the Dark Knight trilogy, there were like a lot of quick cuts that, didn't really let you see the action happening as you should have been. And then like in Batman v Superman, we got that really dope warehouse scene, but Batman basically had superpowers in it. He had like super strength there, where he's like chucking like, wooden crates, like with his grapple hook, denying like all the laws of physics and all that BS. Freaking Zack Snyder, piece of garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely looks like probably the best type of fighting that we've seen.
No, it's just quick and clean, and like the camera's not breaking here. It looks like they took maybe some notes from John Wick, where it's like, we actually don't want a whole lot of cuts. We want to see more of the action happening on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the brutality of that, even that one scene, because he beats the crap out of him standing up, and then when he falls to the ground, he basically gets on top of him and beats him up even more. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Well, and I think that's also just a great moment of like, you're seeing him as still not the disciplined Batman that everybody's grown up with. He's still fueled by his anger. He's still not completely, he's still not completely in control of like everything that he does in terms of like, being the ideal Batman here, or like, being like seasoned, I guess.
For sure. Yeah. Well, that's it for our little review of Fandome. Sounds so weird.
It does.
But and that's it for the podcast for the week. But thank you guys for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Hit us up on the social medias, all that stuff. Like, comment, share with your friends. We would greatly appreciate it. Have an awesome week, and remember, everyone's a nerd about something.